Hello, folks. This is Silly with Dima again, and we received the Seventh Prasad in the Planetmates. Start giving you what I've received. The Sixth Prasad, we finished what they were pointing out is that there was an alien consciousness construct created to counter the pain of the prematurity of birth for our species. And you'd have to listen to the earlier Prasad to understand why there would be pain at birth and after birth for our species relative to all other species. And then there was the creation of ego to buffer us from that pain and to mitigate that pain, and that the ego created both a buffer which acts as an opiate, and it created an opposite of the truth perceptions of things, turning our flaws into accomplishments. And so ego served as an untruth teller, which made us feel good. So sugarcoats things, and so it acts as an opiate to buffer us from the truth, and it creates an untruth, which actually as a euphoria, like a delusion, a very happy delusion. So we're happy deluded campers on this planet Earth in our short stay here. Now, so that's backing up a little bit in order to say, here's what they brought to us this time. It starts out, instrumental in creating this ego are the caretakers, the fully grown. Often, but not always, the parents, especially the mother initially. The fully grown become the models and the delivery systems for this diminishment and perfect wrongness of consciousness. Of course, humans were not humans for millions of years. Your predecessors were planetmates and Earth citizens like us. There came a time when small groups of your forebears, living near swamps and oceans and gathering their food in the shallow waters, spent long periods of time in that water and found it easy and beneficial to lift themselves up on their hind legs more and more. Over hundreds of thousands of years, this activity led to bipedalism, or walking on two legs, of course, as opposed to four like our nearest mammals, primates, especially. Over hundreds of thousands, this activity led to bipedalism on land as well. Unfortunately, this supposed benefit over time created narrower pelvic bones and narrower pelvic vaginal openings in your females. There was a time preceding this when your females had pelvic bones that were wide enough to give birth to 20-month-old newborns. These newborns were as ready as Earth citizens for physical existence when they were born, and they were born without the difficulties and pain that characterizes human birth for both mothers and fetuses. So I'll try and get the highlights here. So the creation of this ego is brought about to the caretakers of the newborn, which are adults, and these are usually parents, especially the mother. But not necessarily, could be lots of times it's other people. That wherever these people are, they become the models for this ego, and they become the delivery systems for this ego in terms of pointing out, in terms of training children, what's right, what's wrong, what's proper, what's improper, what's appropriate, inappropriate in today's terms, and but they become, as they're pointing out, the models and delivery systems for what they're calling, this diminishment and perfect wrongness of consciousness, which I was pointing out earlier. Now, and then they're also pointing out that, of course, we would call ourselves humans, as we were evolving, our earliest predecessors or earliest forebears wouldn't be considered human by any terms we would consider humans. They were more like animals or planetmates, as they say, and Planetmates and Earth Citizens. But change came because we were gathering food, apparently shellfish or fish or whatever, or other maybe vegetables, algae, who knows? But when these groups of our earliest forebears were living near swamps and oceans, and they were gathering food in shallow waters, you can imagine that they were spending long times in that water. They would it'd be easy to get up on your hind legs and you can walk further. And then over time, there would be a survival or advantage for that. There'd be through natural selection, people who could gather more food would have more children and so on. They're more likely for those traits to be carried forward. So this led to more and more bipedalism, not just in the water but on land. And standing up does create narrower pelvic bones. We have narrower pelvic bones than primates that are closest to us. And they're saying that there was a time when our species had 20-month-old newborns, when we had the larger pelvic bone openings, and so the mother could give birth to a larger infant, a larger newborn. And we were saying, as the Prasads are pointing out, we are different from other planet mates in that our nearest mammals will give birth to a newborn that might be roughly equivalent to what we would be in our development at the age of 4 years old. So we're really premature at 9 months. But at 20 months, we would be more like the planet mates. So it's supposed that at 20 months, maybe we were, at 20 months of gestation, we might, and being perfectly nurtured inside the womb by a divine plan that can't go wrong, like humans can when they're raising their children, we might have come out more functional, more close to 4 years of age in our ability to function. But more certainly they're saying that we're more able to function than certainly a 9-month old, 9-month gestated newborn. Well, they say, in fact, that these newborns, the 20-month-old newborns, were as ready as Earth citizens for physical existence when they were born, and they were born without the difficulties and pain that characterizes human birth for both mothers and fetuses, because we know mothers know that the birth is painful, and now it's a therapy and everything. We know that in all public breath work and so on, we know that birth is painful for fetuses, for newborns as well. They're saying that's where it all started, and then it all changed because we just happened to be foraging along shorelines. Yeah, it does synchronize it with some of the things I've heard as being possible ways that we evolve. That's all I can say. And that's the Seventh Prasad. Take it for what it's worth, and I'm going to leave it right there. It doesn't contradict anything that evolutionary anthropologists and evolutionary biologists have said. In fact, I know that there are bones that have been dug up by archaeologists from early possible early ancestors who, and there were wide pelvic bones in females, and probably in males too, but and this would have allowed for longer gestations. So, is it that? So, Nickel.